Hi, everyone, and welcome to A+ English. I'm Joe.
And I'm Winnie.
Now, today we are going to talk about a very famous story called Anne of Green Gables.
Anne of Green Gables. 这中文译名是清秀佳人，虽然好像没什么关系，但是还是很美啦。But I feel like I need to be honest with you, Joe. Can you promise not to make fun of me?
I'll try not to make fun of you. No promises, but I'll try my best.
I know it is a classic, but I've never read it before.
Well, no worries. There's lots of classic stories out there. Nobody can read everything, so I'm not going to make fun of you for that.
True. So you've read it before?
I've read it before a long time ago, back when I was a young kid in school. And actually, I'm from Canada, and there's actually a TV series based on this story.
Whoa.
I don't think it was famous anywhere except Canada, so don't worry if you've never seen it.
So what was it about?
It just followed Anne, the main character, and some of the other characters in the story. I think it wasn't from the book, but they made up some other stories about what adventures Anne would get up to. And even now, today, in the place where it was filmed, it's like a tourist attraction for Canadians to go and see. So I'm pretty familiar with this story.
But it's not really about the book.
It's not really all about the book. They just kind of said, well, this is what the character Anne would be like, and these are the other sorts of adventures that she would get up to.
Well, sounds like an interesting story. Luckily, we'll be talking about the story for the next 3 days.
Okay, well, let's get to it in day one. Let's read through our article right now.
Welcome to Green Gables, Anne.
Once upon a time, Marilla and her brother Matthew lived on the Green Gables farm. They didn't have their own families and were becoming too old to work. Therefore, they decided to adopt a boy to help them. The orphanage sent them a child, so Matthew went to the train station to pick him up. Matthew couldn't believe his eyes when he got there. The orphanage sent a girl by mistake. The girl introduced herself.
My name is Anne Shirley. I know nothing about working on a farm, but I want to learn.
Matthew couldn't just leave the girl at the train station, so he brought her home. Word power!
Therefore. Amy is sick, and therefore will not be here today. Amy is sick, and therefore will not be here today. Station. Mom drives me to the MRT station on her way to work. Mom drives me to the MRT station on her way to work. By mistake. I'm sorry, but I think I took your bag by mistake. I'm sorry, but I think I took your bag by mistake. Introduced. The new student introduced himself to the class. The new student introduced himself to the class.
The article begins today by saying, once upon a time, Marilla and her brother Matthew lived on the Green Gables farm. Once upon a time, that's usually how these stories start. It's very common for like fairy tales or old stories. It just means at a time in the past. We don't know exactly when, but usually it means a long time ago.
这就从前 Once upon a time 童话故事都很喜欢这样的开头啦。虽然这可能不是像公主和王子那样的童话故事，不过因为没有很明确的时间，我们在一般故事中也可以用 Once upon a time 开头。所以从前 Marilla 和她弟弟 Matthew 住在 Green Gables 农场。So we see Green Gables from the title.I see Marilla and Matthew, but no Anne.
Anne has not made an appearance yet, but the article goes on to say they didn't have their own families and were becoming too old to work. Yes, when people used to work farms or have farms a lot, they had kids because when you got too old to work, the kids would take over the farm.
That's not the reason why they have kids.
It was. Trust me, I come from a farming family. That's why they had kids. They said, okay.
They made you work?
They made you work. They had kids to put you to work. When you were like 5 years old, if you could pick up a shovel, you were going straight to work. Trust me. This is why they had kids.
What?
Yes, absolutely.
所以 Marilla 和她的弟弟没有结婚啦，所以没有结婚就没有子女，变得越来越老，没办法工作。记得这个用法吗？ To 形容词加 to do something 太点点点，以至于不能做某件事情。Too old to work. So what are they going to do?
It says, therefore they decided to adopt a boy to help them. See, I told you. This is why they have kids. They're going to have a kid. They're going to get a kid so that he can work on the farm. And it says,Therefore. Therefore just means for that reason or because of that. It's an adverb. And we could also say Amy is sick and therefore will not be here today. One more time. Amy is sick and therefore will not be here today.
刚刚说他们太老了，所以啦，就老师说就是一定要找一个男孩，那他们就决定要领养一个男孩来帮他们啦。所以除了 so， 我们可以来学一个厉害一点的字啦。Therefore 是个副词，我们一般把它放在句首加个逗点，像课文一样后面接所以点点点，或者像例句中放在连接词 and 后面 ，Amy 生病了，所以今天不会来。I still haven't seen Anne.Anne can be the adopted boy.
Anne, well, I'm pretty sure that's a girl's name, but It says they're sending a child here. It says a child.
Oh.
The orphanage sent them a child. An orphanage is where children live who have lost their parents or their parents have given them up for some reason. It's a place for kids who don't have parents. So they got sent a child.So Matthew went to the train station to pick him up. Okay, it says a child. It doesn't say a boy or a girl here. It just says a child. So we know something's going to happen. Matthew went to the train station. A station is a place where buses or trains regularly stop so that passengers can get on and off. For example, Mom drives me to the MRT station on her way to work. Mom drives me to the MRT station on her way to work.
所以啦，他们决定从这个孤儿院 orphanage 领养一个男孩。弟弟 Matthew 就去火车站接他啦。Station 是车站，前面加上各式交通工具 ，for example train station 就是火车站 ，MRT station 就是捷运车站啦。所以例句的意思你就懂了。妈妈每天上班顺路载我去捷运车站。
Matthew couldn't believe his eyes when he got there. The orphanage sent a girl.By mistake. Uh-oh, this is a problem.
There's a girl.
Yep.
But they wanted a boy.
They wanted a boy. They wanted a male heir to the farm. So a guy who's going to grow up into a big, strong man so he can take over the farm.
So what's wrong with his eyes?
I'm not sure. It says he couldn't believe his eyes. That's just an expression we use when you can't believe that something is true. You're seeing it.But you don't believe it.
所以就是他不敢相信自己的眼睛。那我们就一起去找亮点吧。
Magic Box 找亮点。
Oh my God, 龙伟 Is that Big Ben?
你是说那个韩国男子团体 Big Bang 吗？不是吧？怎么可能那么巧啊？
真的啦！我跟 Top 对到眼泪 ！Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God! I can't believe my eyes!
好了，小姐，你可以冷静一点吗 ？Calm down.
Oh Top, 사랑해요! 我要当你的女朋友。
Did you just really say that? Do you need to see a doctor? Oh, I can't believe my ears. 拜托你不要犯花痴好不好？很丢脸呢。
Sangheo T.O.P. I love you, Top. Hello, everyone. 不晓得有人跟 Albie 一样超爱 Big Bang 的吗 ？Top、Judy、太阳、大成、胜利，真的是帅到我快要哭了。我不信各位 Big Bang 的粉丝们，如果你们跟我一样在机场巧遇他们，能不尖叫不犯花痴吗？你绝对跟我一样激动的说 I can't believe my eyes. 我简直无法相信我的眼睛啊！我竟然可以亲眼目睹本尊啊！真的要哭了我，真想立马扑上去。好，当你无法相信自己眼睛的时候，就代表你无法相信眼前所看到的事情。当然就是确实发生了这件事，而你也看到了，但你却不敢置信的感觉啦。Can't believe one's eyes. 那么今天如果把 eyes 换成 ears 呢？各位聪明的同学想必都猜得到吧？就是无法相信自己的耳朵，无法相信你所听到的事情这样啦。Can't believe one's ears. 像我朋友整个无法相信我竟然说出要当 top 女朋友这种话，而且还在本尊面前，多丢脸，对不对？不过啊，我想这种疯狂的粉丝大告白，相信很多大明星都一定有经历过啦，根本已经算没什么了吧。Alright， 今天的 Magic Box 教给大家的句子是不是真的超好用的？大家有没有好好的学起来啊？那么 Magic Box 找亮点，我们下回见喽。Oh, my top.Okay,
we also saw the phrase there, by mistake. This just means by accident. It means you didn't mean to do something. You didn't do it on purpose. For example, we could say, I'm sorry, but I think I took your bag by mistake. I'm sorry, but I think I took your bag by mistake.
你还记得一开始 Marilla 和弟弟 Matthew 是要领养男孩还是女孩吗？因为他们太老没办法工作 too old to work， 所以决定领养一个男孩来帮忙。结果孤儿院却送错了，送来一个女孩耶。By mistake 在这里是个副词片语，表示错误的、意外的。你也可能会发生像例句一样的状况，不巧拿错别人的包包，就会说不好意思，我想我好像不小心拿到你的包包了。
So I guess Matthew must be kind of disappointed because they wanted a boy. The boy was going to come and take over the farm. That was the plan. But then there's this girl standing there at the train station. So the girl introduced herself. My name is Anne Shirley. I know nothing about working on a farm, but I want to learn. Okay, so she doesn't know anything about working on a farm. Nothing
That's
about
even worse.
Nothing about taking care of animals, nothing about growing crops or harvesting them or anything about that. So this is really bad for Matthew, but she says she wants to learn. So I guess that's good. But she starts off by introducing herself. Introduce is a verb, and it means to formally tell someone who you are. You say, hello, my name is blah, 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 something like that. We could say the new student introduced himself to the class. The new student introduced himself to the class.
你可能还没学过 introduce 这个字，不过你看到后面文章接着说我的名字是 blah blah blah， 是不是就可以猜到这个字的意思啦？ Introduce oneself 就是介绍自己，比如接下来开学啦，你一定会遇到新同学，像例句一样，新同学要向大家介绍自己。So they wanted a boy, but here stood a girl named Anne.
Yes, this is not what they wanted. This was not their plan for the future, for themselves, or for the farm.
What is he going to do?
I'm not sure what they're going to do. Back then, girls didn't take over the farm work. This is a long time ago, remember? Girls didn't work.
That's wrong.
This was not the way it was. It's not
what
like
do
the modern
girls do?
times. They were at home. Mostly they cooked, they cleaned, they raised the children. So this is a long time ago. This is not the way it is today, of course, but we're talking about a different time. Now, Matthew couldn't just leave the girl at the train station, so he brought her home. Yes, of course.
Of course.
You can't just say, well, you know what,
You're
ordered a boy,
what I'm looking for.
You're a girl, we're just going to send you back, or I'm just going to leave you here. You'll be okay, don't worry about it. Just catch the next train, go somewhere else.
No, he can't do that.
No, of course not. He has to bring her home, and they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with Anne Shirley.Yeah,
所以当然遇到这种状况的时候，你总不能把 Anne 这个小女孩就留在车站吧，太残忍了。所以最后 Matthew 还是决定，先带她回家再看看好了。
All right, so what's going to happen with the rest of the story? What's going to happen to Anne Shirley? Will she work out on the farm, or will she have to go back to the orphanage? We'll have to wait until the next day to find out exactly what's going to happen to her. Before we leave you, though, let's have our wrap-up. So today we've had our introduction to the classic story Anne of Green Gables. We started up with a couple who owned a farm. The man's name was Matthew, and they were getting old, okay? So they needed somebody to come in and take over the farm, but the problem was they didn't have any kids.
So they decided to adopt a kid.
They decided to adopt a kid. And remember, if you want to adopt a child, it means you're going to take a child into your home who doesn't have parents of their own. Maybe their parents have died or their parents were forced to give up the child because they were too poor. They didn't have enough money or something like that.
But they wanted a boy especially.
They wanted a boy. They wanted a guy who was going to come in and grow up to take over the farm, to be a farmer. And as we said back then, women were not farmers. They might help out on the farm, but they didn't do a lot of the main work. They had a lot of ideas about what men should do and about what women should do, and those two things didn't really mix. So when Matthew went to the train station, he saw a child there, but the child was a girl.
A girl.
It was a girl named Anne Shirley. This was not what he had hoped for, but the girl was very nice. She was very polite. She introduced herself as Anne Shirley, and she was honest. She said, I know nothing about farm work, but I want to learn. Okay, so I think that's very important. She wants to take over the farm too, and she's saying,
willing to learn.
Yeah, she's willing to learn, and she's kind of saying, well, I can do anything that a guy can do. You don't need a boy on your farm. You need me.
That's cool.
So she's kind of modern in her way of thinking. Will this work out for her? We'll find out on the next episode of A+ English. Until then, I'm Joe.
And I'm Winnie.
Goodbye.
Bye.
A+ 小聚会
Can I get a glass of water, please?
Can I get a glass of water, please?
Can I have a glass of water, please? Hello? Hello everyone, this is Winnie. 刚刚一个太兴奋被自己口水呛到，刚好就用到今天的小聚会。Can I get a glass of water, please? 这周提到好几句在飞机上实用的句型。在飞机上，因为长途飞行，有时候口渴啊、冷啦、饿啦，都可以请空服员帮忙。比如口渴了，就可以用到今天的小聚会。Can I get a glass of water, please? 那饿了也可以用同样的句型啦。For example, Can I get a bag of chips, please? 可以给我一包洋芋片吗？如果你要求很多，不想要喝水，想喝点别的，当然也可以用这个句型啦。Can I get a can of Coke, please? 可以给我一罐可乐吗？等等的，你们可以换句话说啦。当然，这些在一般餐厅也都可以派上用场，所以我们先把最基本的再复习一次吧。Can I get a glass of water, please? Oh, can I get another glass of water, please?
Can I get a glass of water, please?
Can I get a glass of water, please?
Welcome to Green Gables, Anne.
Once upon a time, Marilla and her brother Matthew lived on the Green Gables farm. They didn't have their own families and were becoming too old to work. Therefore, they decided to adopt a boy to help them. The orphanage sent them a child, so Matthew went to the train station to pick him up. Matthew couldn't believe his eyes when he got there. The orphanage sent a girl by mistake. The girl introduced herself.
My name is Anne Shirley. I know nothing about working on a farm, but I want to learn.
Matthew couldn't just leave the girl at the train station, so he brought her home.
Therefore, Amy is sick and therefore will not be here today. Amy is sick and therefore will not be here today. Station. Mom drives me to the MRT station on her way to work. Mom drives me to the MRT station on her way to work. By mistake. By mistake. I'm sorry, but I think I took your bag by mistake. I'm sorry, but I think I took your bag by mistake. Introduce. Introduce. Introduce, introduced, introduced. The new student introduced himself to the class. The new student introduced himself to the class.